Thank you. Well, hello everyone. Thank you all for coming. It's good to see you. Yin, are you okay? Are you alive? Okay. 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 As long as you're still alive, that's the main thing. Okay. When you get older and you get sick, that's when you appreciate that you've been taking life for granted. And you don't, you regret that you haven't been taking care better of your body. This is what we do. We neglect our body and chase after things, external things. And it's not until you're sick that you remember that your priorities are all off. That's too bad. Anyway, Sundays where we practice the Pureland Dharma Assembly, and I've been telling you that Shakyamuni Buddha and Amitabha Buddha work together. They work hand in hand because depending on the conditions, depending on who you are, the Buddhas decide to help you differently. Okay, so typically, for those of us who don't have a chance to practice it often, and don't have the time or the strength or the inclination to cultivate in particular, and so you should be considering seriously the Pureland Dharma door, because that's the way to end all sufferings. Whereas if you have a chance to practice, then you should consider practicing meditation more vigorously. That's why in our temple we advocate practicing both Pureland and Chan. I started by teaching Chan a long time ago, 16 years ago, because I knew that I needed to build my credibility. Here's what happens. If I taught Pureland Dharma door, the Pureland Dharma door prematurely, most of you will be skeptical and would not believe it. And some of you might slander it and claim that I am trying to cheat you, trying to get your money, and so forth. Okay, and so I didn't dare teach Pureland Dharma door for a long time. It was reserved only for those close disciples of ours who have been coming to the temple, have been benefiting greatly from the Chan practice and the typical practices. And when they needed help, then we suggested them to get the help to help their loved ones go to the Pureland. And initially, quite a few of them, their relatives came back, and in dreams and in some manifestations to help reinforce those early disciples that it's for you. And it also helped me understand the process as well. So it's has been a long road, but nowadays, so the same thing's happening in Korea, for example. The Koreans are learning about Chan, are learning about Medicine Master Buddha Dharma, but they don't quite appreciate the Pureland Dharma door yet. It's under interest. So, this, you see the pattern right there, because we're very cautious. We don't try to, we take our time to do it right. And I was also telling you that because of these two Buddhas work together very closely. So Shakyamuni Buddha, when he finds out that people are very difficult to train, and he sends over the Amitabha Buddha and says, "Here, you take care of him." These Christians, Catholics. They're hopeless. You tell them the truth, and I don't believe you. Only God. I won't listen to the words of God. So what do? We say, hey, just send the Emitofuo Buddha and let him take care of it. Huh? And so it's been working quite well. And in general also, I also started, since we are beginning to have more momentum in the Pureland Dharma door, especially with Dharma treasury, we finally are getting a temple where we can actually start building a Dharma door called Pureland Dharma door around it. Okay, and so we're very excited about it. So we are preparing to do a first relic exhibit at the Dharma Treasury. This is going to happen during the Labor Day weekend. Okay, and I know that maybe the old monk, the old abbot of Dharma Treasury in San Francisco and of Gold Forest in San Jose. Can you imagine? This guy used to be a killer, and now he's sort of a monk abbot. It's how strange things turn out, and so maybe he can help decide which relics to bring up to north and which ones to leave down here and so forth. We're running short on stupas. We don't have enough stupas, so eventually we buy more stupas. But one of the things that in terms of preparing for it, and I know I'm really grateful for those of you who are planning to go to San Francisco and help out and so forth. So in order to prepare for that, we also are planning on moving the display cases up north. So yesterday I drove the red truck back. We figured that since I go up there anyway, so we could commute back and forth and save some money. Okay, movers would charge you like $2,000 just to move the display cases. Okay, and so I was driving a red truck and I forgot to take off the parking brakes, so I drove with the parking brakes for an hour. Okay, and then midway through, the transmission gave out. So right there in Catamount City is exactly midpoint. Okay, you know that. Okay, between here and San Jose. And so right there, the exit at Catamount City, the transmission stopped working. So he didn't run anymore. So what did I do? I went over to the side, and exactly there's plenty of space for me, just enough momentum for me to go to the side, and the truck died. Okay, transmission wouldn't work; it wouldn't run at all. I didn't know what to do. So typically, you call AAA or call someone to tow it to a garage and wait until Monday or something. But imagine all this mess we have. I have to be here today, and it was yesterday, hot afternoon. So luckily for us, Xian Xin said, "Let's go Juan." Juan is our resident car fleet manager or director. We have lots of directors here. So he called him and he talked to him and said, "Oh yeah," he asked a lot of questions like a car doctor. Did you downshift, upshift? What happened? And then he said, "Okay, it sounds like a transmission thing. So wait for half an hour. Let the transmission cool down." So we went around, looked for the sticks for the transmission fluid, temperature, whatever, and so forth. Couldn't find it. Okay? So we had to wait for 25 minutes, and then we drove again. And I realized it's my fault because I was driving at 90 miles per hour. You notice, gee, why is everyone so slow? I was passing everyone. So to share with you how lucky it is that we had some help, and that talking about conditions, meaning that I brought the truck down. After that, I drove only 70 miles per hour, not 90. Okay. I'm used to driving 90. I mean, on some good days. And so live and learn, we all learn from making mistakes. So the good news is that the truck seems to be fine, so we'll be able to move the relic cases up north, hopefully. Only 3 trips, we'll be fine. So anyway, it tells you how, now we worry about things like that. Before, I only had to worry about meditating and teach you and yelling at you. Now it's moving relics and, all sorts of things. It's so much more complicated as with our work. But thank you. The incident reminded me how much support we get from all of you. So I'm very, very grateful. You couldn't do it without your help. Just when the car broke down, there's someone we can call and get help right away. And imagine all the problems we have here at the temple, all kinds of problems, issues, and it's so smooth. I don't hear anything at all. So I'm very grateful. Thank you all for your support. Okay. I was wondering too, and I also claim to you that a lot of people, we aspire to go from here to the Pureland. It's really the best place. Okay, and I also remind you as well that the Asian practitioners of Pureland, they are so desperate to go to the Pureland, they only just want to go to Pureland at any cost. And we are different. American Pureland, we want to go there with higher grades, okay? Because it's very important to cultivate here, because you make progress a lot faster than over there. Over there is you have no more suffering, therefore you progress a lot slower. And there's a key here. If you're willing to suffer here and do the suffering here, you progress a lot quicker. Over in the Pure Land, you can't suffer. You don't get to suffer anymore. Make sense? Pure Land is all fun, it's all happiness. So don't complain, why is it so hard? It's so hard so that you can make progress. If you're sick in your body and you have a chance to recover from it, then you have a chance to improve as well. Okay? So all those are obstructions that are part of the cultivation that will help you make progress. Okay? Kan is not here, but she's an example, prime example of someone who's only for the last 10 years or so, almost 10 years or so, she came to Lu Mountain Temple, started coming to Lu Mountain Temple, and then she switched over here. And she only came on Sundays, where she recited Buddha's name like we did this morning. Every Sunday is like this, okay? Morning session, lunch, and then afternoon lecture, that's it. No chant, no nothing whatsoever. Okay? In contrast, that gentleman right there, he came here because of chant. Liang's father. Okay, Liang doesn't come here anymore since, and he loves chant. He loves meditation. The whole family loves meditation. Now he's coming to Sunday. He's becoming interested in Pure Land, Dharma door too. And last week, he came up to me and said, Wan Yin Dharma Assembly, I want to make an offering to you. And I said, and look at him and said, whoa, surprise. He's reached 5th Samadhi. I was so happy. Huh? I was so happy to see him that way, because when he first came, it was around 1 or 2 dhyana, and then he quickly reached 3rd dhyana, and he got stuck for quite a while. So I got impatient. I gave him some tips. He still got stuck. And something happened recently, okay, that he's made a leap. So once you get to that range, 5th or 6th and so forth, it's automatic. Yeah. Same thing with Kan. Kan is now, she went to first stage, Arhat. She moved quickly to 2nd stage, and don't tell her because she might get a big head. She's going to reach 4th stage Arhat at the rate she's going, naturally. Okay? So take advantage of it. Come to the temple, just come regularly, and you see. These track records, the whole thing is set up for you to help you cultivate. Okay? Questions or comments? It's just like, it's so boring nowadays. You guys are making progress. I don't have to do much anymore. I just don't have a whole lot to do anymore. And the reason I brag about this is for you to know about these people and watch them and see how they got there, why they're making progress. And, if they can, so can you. Okay? They're doing something right. If you're not making progress quickly enough, it's because you're doing something wrong. Okay? That's all. It's that simple. And so a lot of you their Kung Fu is pretty impressive. I'm very, very pleased with all of you. Okay? All right. So, how do you know that, since we tell you that a lot of us want to go from here to the Western Bliss Pure Land, okay, I assure you, also people over there also are here, come back here as well. You know that? The same similar reason. We go there in order to get help from Amitabha Buddha. And people over there come back here to do what? What for? Why would they come back here? I mean, most Vietnamese, most Chinese people, most Pure Land practitioners say, I'm never coming back. Idiots. Yes, 9.
Thank you, Master. They come back to suffer so they can improve.
They come back to suffer? Yeah. There's no suffering in Pure Land. It gets boring after a while. You say, the food is so good, the music is so good, everything is so good, fragrance is so good. I want to suffer some more. So they come back to suffer. Exactly. Okay? And they became Christians and Catholics and so forth. They suffer even more. Okay? What else? What are the reasons? What are the reasons? Yes and 9.
They come back to help their loved ones?
To help the loved one. That's one of the biggest reasons why they come back. They come back in order to help the people that they promised to help, they wanted to help. So with Amitabha's guidance, Amitabha then, when you go to the Pure Land, you can ask Amitabha and say, I would like to help, my family, my father, mother, and so forth. And Amitabha would then know about that, make a note of that, and will decide when it's time for you, how the Buddha can make it happen. So quite often, the Buddha would send those people back here, even though they're not enlightened yet, okay, to help. Case in point, I name a few people for your reference, okay? Remember Danny, those of you who went to Lu Mountain Temple? Danny is from the Pure Land. Okay? Go Yin, you remember Danny? He's from the Pure Land. Okay? And Cảnh is from the Pure Land. Yeah. and they're here in order to try to save the family. Okay? And that's their job. They came back here to do whatever it takes to save the family and suffer. So both of them are bipolar for some reason. They have huge tempers. They both have huge tempers. Okay, but they're gentle. They're not violent like me. So how can you tell they're from the Pure Land? You thought about that? I'm showing today. I thought I proved to you such people. Can we give you some clues? How can you tell they're from the Pure Land? Yes, 9.
Maybe because they really trust in the Dharma of the Pure Land without maybe even...
Absolutely. They believe the Pure Land Dharma door immediately. Okay, Danny is the case with Danny. He helped a lot of people. He got a lot of rebirth, gave a lot of rebirth blessings for a lot of people. Okay, back then when I was still in the my brother's house, living room, he's helping people get rebirth blessings already, and he got his parents already way back then. Okay, and those of you way back then, you look at yourself, yeah, me too. You probably are from a Pure Land too. Okay, what else? What else? How can you tell? Yes? Min, 3.
Master, they like to cultivate.
They like to cultivate. Cultivation is very thing. In our temple, cultivation does not necessarily mean crossing legs. For example, you folks get to cross your legs. My monks and nuns don't. They don't have time. I run them ragged, haggard. They don't have time. We're too busy. Okay? And the loser monks and nuns, they complain and say, how come I'm cultivating, I don't get to cultivate? Working is cultivation. If you think cultivation is to meditate alone, okay, you're so wrong. Only losers do that. See, I'm here, I can use the word loser. When I'm in San Jose, the boys are paying attention, I can't use that word anymore. They say, Master like to use loser. Because I see losers everywhere. Okay? Yeah. So, cultivation has many, many ways. It's not just meditation. Otherwise, it's not Mahayana. Mahayana is just not meditation. Have you ever thought of that? It's Pure Land, it's Tantra, it's Sutra, it is, building temples and so forth. What else? How can you tell? Yes, I like to cultivate, but not the way you think. Yes, 7.
Master, from what I remember from Danny, he was very giving.
Very giving. Well, yes, he's helping everyone. He helps left and right. Anybody we need to help, a ride or in a kitchen or, everyone, not just us. Okay? Yeah. All right? What else? What's the difference between the people here and the people in the Pure Land? That's the difference. In other words, how do you know you're not from the Pure Land? How do you know you're a loser? I mean, huh? Yes, 6, 7.
Thank you, Master. I think they don't have any greedy or stupidity, like
Excellent.
anger. They don't
Excellent,
have,
yeah. Well, Danny's bipolar, so he does get angry. He blows his top. He blew his top quite often at me. Yeah. But the one thing that is the core of such people, okay, it's when you live here in the Saha world long enough compared to the people who are in the Pure Land, live there long enough, because typically, Amitabha Buddha cannot send you back until it's safe to send you back. Because when he sends you back, okay, he has to make sure that you can go back. Okay, especially a person like Danny's level is too low. So he has to have the mechanism for him to get back. And he had to go back very quickly because his job is done. Number one. Number two, he came here to help his family, as typically, okay? He came back here to save his family and friends or whoever. And as soon as done, he was sent back immediately, okay? Because it's not safe for him to be here. His level is too low to be here. Because if he's here for too long, something happens. You pick up habits, bad habits, for being here. Okay? So when you go back to the Pure Land, those habits, energy, will have a negative effect on your cultivation in the Pure Land. So that's why, in some cases, he cannot, they cannot stay here very long. They can't. Okay, and they're not supposed to. It's not good for them. You see, that's how wise Amitabha Buddha is. He says, no, you can't, you shouldn't stay here. So provisions were made for him to go back immediately. So it came in the form of him jumping off the 7th floor on the parking lot structure. But, Amitabha works in mysterious ways. Okay? So it was arranged. So Yasmin.
Master, did you send him back? Did you send Danny back to Pure Land?
Yeah, we sent him back, yes. Yeah, and because I felt guilty. So I sent him back immediately. Okay, but I felt guilty because he came to me for help, and I screwed up partially. Part of it is my fault. He was a disciple of Master YongHua's disciples, that side. So look at him as straddling two boats. Okay, so when he had problems, he's depressed and so forth, I sent him back to his temple and said, I'm not going to mess with you because your teachers is over there. I don't want to have people to claim I'm stealing your disciples. If I help you, you switch over, then people will start rumors that I'm stealing disciples from Master YongHua's temples. So I sent him back, and they couldn't help him. I found out later they couldn't help him. I overestimated their abilities. So they came back, and he got worse and worse, and I wasn't skilled enough. I was in trouble. I was under attack from the nun from Master YongHua's temple as well. So all the conditions came together. So when he decided he was out of stupidity, he decided to jump off the roof on the parking structure. That night, that morning, he called me a couple of times, okay? And I didn't pick up. I said, I told you, I gave you instructions already. What are you doing bothering me? I have problems on my own. and then those depression ghosts attacked me and neutralized me. I couldn't do anything. I was sick. And as soon as you jump off the roof, I recovered. Because of that, I felt guilty. I felt guilty that I, didn't have enough clarity of mind to help him. And after that, I felt guilty, so I helped him go to the Pureland very quickly. And then after that, I never trust them ever again. Master YongHua disciples. Trust any of them. Yes, Catholic. One.
I was wondering since yesterday, what methodology do you use to tell the levels of people? Or what do you do to tell the levels of people, and how can you guide them to improve their levels?
Each level has its strengths and weaknesses. So over the years, I understood those things more and more. So I decided that for myself personally, I was a certain level. I need to make sure I was a certain level, so I had to verify that. Okay, so I looked for information to verify for myself because no one was helping me. So I had to develop that knowledge for myself. Okay, and then in order for me to improve, I need to understand what it takes to go to the next level. So I figure it out. Okay, and so if I can figure it out for myself, then it applies to everyone. Number one. Number two, when I started teaching, then I had to develop the ability to see where you are because that's my interest. I said, if I'm going to teach, I want to really teach, not do the same thing as the others are doing, meaning guess, okay, or pray to God that it works out. So I'm more a control freak. So I say, if I'm going to do it, how do I control this process to make sure it happens? So over the years, I developed the ability to recognize others as well, others' level. And so I started by experimenting. I said, oh, this guy is in the form realm, okay? 1 to 4 dhyanas, and I helped them, helped those people, early disciples. I taught them how to get there, okay? How to get to first dhyana, how to get from first to second, third, and so forth. And over the years, I developed, it confirmed all my research. Again, okay? So it's from personal desire of mine to do it because out of need, out of curiosity, first, in order to make sure that I'm not imagining things, I'm not crazy or arrogant. It's very typical of monks and nuns to think they are better than they really are. Okay, especially Hinayana people, they have that big problem that they are fuzzy, that knowledge, their different levels, and therefore they overestimated themselves. It's typical. I've seen too many Hinayana monks and nuns fall prey to that. Okay. Yes, 3.
Master, I have a question about the picture back there, which is the Pureland picture, and it shows that different spirit or different beings with different size. So does that mean Pureland there's a form in this different size of the forms?
Yeah, it depends on different manifestations. Okay, in the Pureland, you take on a form. You have a body, okay, which is one type of body only. Unlike here, we have a yin body type and a yang body type. Okay, Over there is one more like yang body type. So yes, we do have a body, and we cultivate using that body. Okay. Yes, 6.
From Jane, can I offer jalapeno peppers to the Buddha? I usually offer fresh vegetables to the Buddhas first before I eat them.
Yeah, you can offer jalapeno peppers. Of course you can. Buddhas like it, like spicy too, from what I heard. When you offer the Buddha, offer the best thing that you can find, offer the things you like as well. So it's perfectly okay. Okay? Buddhas in a Pure Land, you can have spicy dishes too. So that's why I am not surprised that I wouldn't be surprised that the Bodhisattvas and Buddhas also like spicy stuff. Okay, yeah. And so anyway, finally, the one thing that you see that I noticed from quite a few people from a Pure Land are back here. One thing that's a common thread to these people, for these people, as you compare against the people here versus the people from there, is that the people from a Pure Land, they're not attached to material things. Have you noticed that? They don't care. They don't care for, money. Yeah, they're not crazy about money. Of course, they care for money. We all need money. Okay, to help the family, to help your friends, and take care of your children. But they're not that crazy about it. Okay, because remember in the Pure Land, they have gold, they have all sorts of gems for free. So when they come back here, they say, why are you guys so crazy about gold and about that green piece of paper there? What kind of nonsense is it? Okay, so you see, one of the things that I noticed these people, they're not attached to material possessions at all, unlike us, We are so attached to our red cars and, our houses and our spouses and so forth. So that's the difference. And why do I bring it up? Bring it up is to send you a message. Go to Pure Land. I don't care how good you are. Go to Pure Land. I don't care how wealthy you are, how smart you are. You have to go to Pure Land. Okay? It's the best place possible. Okay? So in order to go to Pure Land, prepare for that. Prepare. You have to do the right preparation. Yes, you come to the temple, recite the Buddha's name, and doing that process will help you reduce greed, anger, stupidity. Because the people over there have no greed, no anger, no stupidity. That's what this is about. Okay? And the one thing that most people here forget, because of the nature where we live, is that we are so attached to material things. It's a big problem in our Saha world. We're so attached to externals. Okay? And that's why we're still here. We keep revolving this wheel here because we're so attached to externals, to nonsense. Okay? To money, to houses, to, material things. And that's why we cannot go to the Pure Land. Because we keep forgetting that once we die, we cannot take any of those possessions. I tell people who are old, and said, prepare to go to Pure Land. And they don't understand the subtle message. That is, do not be so attached to material things. They're meaningless in the Pure Land. They can't do anything for you in the Pure Land. When are you going to wake up? 6, do you have a question?
From T.S. Geppetto, since earth life is better for cultivation because of suffering, if one drops to the hells, the suffering is even more. Can one keep a cultivation mindset even in those intense suffering setting?
No. When you go to the 3 evil paths or the 4 evil paths, it's extremely difficult for you to cultivate unless you're a bodhisattva. Unless you're enlightened, you cannot handle the suffering, the extreme suffering from those places. The bodhisattvas go down there in order, number 1, help those living beings escape, and number 2, they can cultivate. But you cannot. Okay? If you have to ask, you cannot. So don't go there. Okay? And so the one mistake I see people make, especially people here who've been bound here for so long, is that they are so attached to material things, to food, to houses, to money, to cars, to, nonsense. Okay? It's a habit energy that you have for so long, lifetime after lifetime. When you go to the Pure Land, you have one life and you drop everything. All right? But it's no point. I keep on telling you, but you don't listen. You're still stingier than hell. Look at Danny, for example. He never cared for anything. He gave everything. I was so embarrassed. He bought me my first iPhone, a 4S. When it first came out, he bought it. And I lost it within 3 months. Now, I'm not used to carrying an iPhone. So, yes, 3.
Master, when you go to Pure Land, or you automatically become Amitabha disciples?
Yes. All of you will become Amitabha Buddha disciples. All of you. Unless you go to jail first. Then you are One Yin Bodhisattva's disciple. Okay? So the division labor, the One Yin is in charge of the Pure Land prison. Amitabha Buddha takes care of the rest. Right? Any other questions? So again, tip for you, go to the Pure Land, prepare, okay? Let go of your attachments, especially to externals. All right, thank you everyone. Let's take a short break and come back for the lunch offering.